Hi and hello. Now, before we dive fully into the Christmas season, which people already have started to do, there's more important topics to discuss first. Let's talk about bats. So if you're not aware, I've adored bats my entire life. They were my gateway to being in love with vampires. They are some of the greatest animals ever, and I'm so happy that there's a Bat Appreciation Week. And although I appreciate them almost every day, it's literally an official week right now. Bat Appreciation Week is a real thing, and I was just reminded about it due to Microsoft. Thanks, Microsoft. It's good to know you're useful for at least one thing. They are bird puppies, and I love them so much, and I dream about being able to pet and feed one someday. So I think it's safe to say that bats definitely were getting better recognition within the 90s. I know I'm biased because that's when I started to get interested in them, but there was a lot of media. And that brings us to the main topic of today.
Stellaluna.
Stellaluna was a book published in 1993, which was written and illustrated
by Janelle Cannon,
which then inspired a PC game by the same name a few years later in 1996, and an animated film even further in 2002. As for the game, that term is used very, very loosely, and it is in fact a living book through and through. Now, the only other living book I've covered so far is from the Arthur series, and that one had a lot of mini games sprinkled around. This one doesn't. It's a lot more serious and mature in a lot of ways. Of course, very educational because you get to learn about bats, and generally, it reminds me a lot of the first animated storybooks Disney came out with, specifically the Lion King one. I mean, there's the same vibe going for both of them, especially since they both take place in Africa. After booting up the game, we're greeted by Stellaluna.
Oh, hello!
Hi, Stellaluna. You're adorable. She goes through the same spiel where she lets you know that you can either get the book read to you or let you play throughout the story. Although, again, there's not much playing going on in this one. We do have the addition of a bat quiz, though, which I'm very excited to ace. It's been a while since I've studied my bat facts, but I used to know so many. Yeah, can you tell that this was one of my first hyperfixations and special interests? Anyways, after explaining all your choices, she goes into a dance. I'm sensing a pattern here for these living book intros. Though, I'm really digging the music choice, honestly. The music that is featured within this game is phenomenal. The plot begins when our mother bat just gave birth to her newborn, Stellaluna, which, when you break it down, her name is literally Star Moon. Wow, could you try to get a bit more creative, Mother Bat? That's her name, by the way, Mother Bat. So these animals are really lacking creativity in general. They're fruit bats who live in Africa, and you can tell that because of the fact that there's an elephant, giraffe, and monkey in the background that you can click on. This is the interactive play element of the game. You can read along as the story is being read to you, and you can click on a bunch of leaves and bugs throughout the pages. How exciting. The conflict arises when an owl tries to attack Mother Bat and Stellaluna as they're searching for food, and Stellaluna gets separated from her mother. Thankfully, she ended up landing nearby a bird's nest and gets taken in by the group of babies. Of course, it's still not all moonlight and dark clouds because Stellaluna has to behave like a bird. She can't enjoy her delicious fruit and instead has to eat bugs alongside of her new bird family.
Plop! In dropped a big green grasshopper.
And she gets scolded by the mama bird for hanging upside down.
You are teaching my children to do bad things. I will not let you back into this nest unless you promise to obey all.
She almost died from that owl, mama bird. Give her some sympathy. You're a terrible animal. Thankfully, as the baby birds grow together alongside Stellaluna, they're able to learn how to fly, which Stellaluna can do very well. Stellaluna ends up flying far enough for her to naturally stumble upon her real bat family and get...
Hey! A loud voice said. Why are you hanging upside down? Stellaluna's eyes opened wide. She saw a most peculiar face.
I'm not upside down. You are,
said Stellaluna. Ah, but you're a bat. Bats hang by their feet.
And gets reunited with her mother, no thanks to the birds. They straight up abandon Stellaluna when they get too tired. And yet Stellaluna flies back to them and invites them to meet her real family, and when they can't fly at night, she still saves them. Those are not good friends, Stellaluna. You could do so much better. And yet, that's how the story ends, accepting each other's differences and agreeing how nice it is to be friends.
I agree,
said Stellaluna.
but we're friends, and that's a fact.
I'm not sure what the lesson is here because, again, they were terrible to Stellaluna. The one more positive thing I'll highlight throughout the story is following this caterpillar turned butterfly throughout the pages. It's not on every single page, which is a little sad, but I love looking out for where it could be and clicking on it every single time I saw it. I'm easily entertained, I know. Now we've reached the most important, exciting part of the software, the Bat Quiz.
By answering the questions about bats.
Let's see how much I remember about these adorable animals. There's 3 levels, but the questions don't get harder between level 1 to 3. Instead, the amount of questions extend as the levels advance. Level 1 is 4 questions, 2 is 6 questions, and 3 is 8 questions. Once you get the question right, you get a ladybug. The goal is to collect a certain amount per level to win. Simple enough, so let's see what these questions are like.
Do vampire bats live in the United States? Yes or no?
Technically, they do at the zoos in America, so I'm going to say yes.
Try again.
This is what happens when you get too logical with these questions for kids. So, as you can see, even when you get a question wrong, although that should have been right, you just get another question to answer until you get enough right to win. I also love that they have all these different pictures of bats a part of the quiz. Yes, give me more images of these amazing animals. Overall, it was still a really cute story to read. You can see that I love my bats, so I'm biased to any type of bat media, especially when it's a positive representation of bats. So, ironically, I don't believe I ever read the book as a child, even though that was completely in my demographic. But technically, I started getting into bats when I was 8. And at that point, I was gravitating towards the legit science books about bats. I distinctly remember finding an article about bats where they were talking about all the myths that people believed in bats. It was illustrated awesome, like very horrified. Which also makes sense because that was probably a gateway for me getting into horror as well. They talked about how people think bats get caught in your hair, how bats turn into vampires, the normal stuff. And so there's a lot of focus on that in terms of why people don't like bats. They're bird puppies, like I said. I love them so much. I mean, look how freaking cute. It's freaking bats. This isn't even my whole collection, but these are plush that I've collected throughout my entire life. This one is one of my oldest. This is a Beanie Baby, and this is my newest in my collection. But a lot of these have been around for decades at this point. When it comes to the actual gameplay, like I said, there's really not any gameplay. It is a legitimate interactive storybook. It is still entertaining though, and I love the way that it was drawn. I love how it was animated. These illustrations are beautiful. And so going into it knowing that it is a legit storybook, but one that can be read to you, is just like a great hour of entertainment. And so, like I've said with all the rest of the games I reviewed, I want these to be remastered. I'm very grateful that they're still accessible. Thanks to the Internet Archive and different websites, they are available, but they're not officially available to play. They're only available because fans were able to upload them to different websites. Woo! They're falling. Okay. Does it have its name in here? Oh yeah, this one is named Batty. Batty the Beanie Baby. But this looks the most like Stellaluna, so we're gonna pretend that this is Stellaluna. Happy National Bat Appreciation Week. So happy I got to partake in it this time. And of course that is technically a wrap on all the spooky games this year and spooky content this year, but don't worry, I'll be back with more very shortly. Until then, we'll see you in the next one.